Welcome to Flawless Shoe Reviews. Today I want to discuss all things stability, stable neutral, whether it's for walking, easy runs or those faster speed shoes that you need some more stability features with. Now some of you might not be familiar with stable neutral shoes. I'm going to cover that. It's a different genre than what we see in stability shoes, as they don't have some medial posting, they may not have arch support, but they have different features that provide stability to the shoe that you might not be aware of. So first of all, I want to start off with our classic stability shoes that have some medial support, and that means on the inner aspect of your foot it provides some support from the heel all the way up to the forefoot. The first shoe I want to touch on, which is one of the most unique on the market, it's the New Balance 860 V14. Now it has Fresh Foam X cushioning, but it has a dual blended midsole, so you'll see there's white cushioning on the top layer and then there's green cushioning on the bottom layer. Now the green cushioning is denser and harder to compress, and you'll see then on the outside there's less green and more white. The white foam is much softer and you sink into it a lot more. So as a result, what you'll feel is that your ankles turn slightly outward because the denser foam just pushes it and tilts it a little bit. So those of you who may have had an orthotic in the past or some arch support or an insole, you may really enjoy that sensation of tilting your ankle outward, and the benefit is it helps to offload that inner aspect of your foot. So if you have a history of posterior tibial tendonitis, for instance, you may enjoy having that tilt outward as it shifts the load towards the side. Otherwise, it has the Fresh Foam X cushioning, which overall is quite a balanced cushioning in this shoe, so you sink into it and it pulses you out nicely. It's not the fastest shoe in the world, coming in around 298 grams for a size 9 men's US. It's a true to size and length, and it's got plenty of space in the toe box, coming in a wide and extra wide version as well. So this is an excellent option if you need some support on the inside of your foot, just to tilt it out a little bit and help to offload that inner aspect of your ankle and the rest of your foot. Then we have the Hurricane 25. So it also has a dual blended midsole as the Power Run midsole, and then the Power Run PB, which is their super foam. So this is a little bit firmer than what we and balanced than what we see in the 860, but as a result of having this larger, denser foam on the inside and less of it on the outside, similar to what we see in the 860, it creates a little bit of a tilt, not as much as what we feel in the 860, but when you apply pressure you definitely feel resistance on the inner part of the foot. So we'll touch on some other shoes later on that provide direct arch support underneath your foot. That's not the case with this. It just has a slight tilt on your foot, provides some resistance to that inward motion, those pronation moments for those of you who need it. It's got a nice broad base of support, some sole flare on the forefoot to increase the amount of stability that's within the shoe. It's a little bit wider in the toe box compared to what we saw in the Hurricane 24. It's a true to size and length for me, padded tongue that's gusseted and plenty of padding around the heel counter. So it's an excellent option if you want a shoe for day-to-day life or walking around, with a little bit of support throughout the whole inner aspect of the shoe, similar to what we saw in the Arahi 7, but it's had an upgrade with your Arahi 8, which we'll touch on later. So these are two of the only shoes in the market which have some support all the way from the heel up to the big toe that provide resistance to those pronation moments throughout the whole gait cycle. An excellent option for lifestyle use and for those easy runs, recovery runs, again a little bit too heavy to do those faster workouts in. So they're slightly heavier shoes, lifestyle shoes, and can be used for easy runs and recovery runs. Next up, we have two max stability shoes. First of all, we've got the Asics Gel-Kayano 32. It has a medial arch support underneath the arch of your foot, so it provides stability through its 4D guidance system. So it's got a broad base of support, it's got some sole flare, which where the sole comes out wider than where your foot sits in the shoe, and it's got the tab underneath your arch of your foot, so when you apply pressure to it, you feel that support directly underneath the arch of your foot. Those of you who enjoy that sensation will really benefit from it. It's not as strong as what we'll talk about in the next section, but you still feel that direct pressure underneath. And they've got large sidewalls on the inside and the outside. Now sidewalls are where the midsole comes up, helps to cradle your ankle, helping to control those pronation moments, keeping you nice and centered in the shoe as you move. It's got the FF Blast Plus cushioning in it, so it's quite a plush cushioning, so you sink into it, very cloud-like when you're walking around. In terms of when you're running, it doesn't give you some of the responsiveness that you get in other shoes. However, if you're looking for a really comfortable shoe that you can do long distance running in, easy runs, recovery runs, then this is an excellent option. They've reduced it to an 8mm drop, so it accommodates more of the general population, and I think you'll really enjoy it if you want a really cushioned shoe, really comfortable shoe with some arch support for lifestyle use as well. Then we have the Hoka Gaviota 5. Now this provides stability through a different method than what we see in the Kayano 32. It has a H-frame built into it where it's denser foam on either side of the midsole and across the middle that focuses on keeping you centered in the shoe as you move, and it provides some torsional rigidity as well. So rather than focusing on having medial support like we saw in the first shoes or a classic arch support in the Kayano 32, this is wholly focused on keeping you completely centered in the shoe without any direct pressure on any parts of your foot. Now it does have large sidewalls on the inside and outside, has excellent broad-based support and some sole flare in the forefoot as well. So all these key features that make up a classic stability shoe in the modern sense, and it's got an excellent toe box, so it's got one of the best fits of all the Hoka shoes. So you've got lots of space for your toes to display. It's a true to size and length, but it's nice and snug fit on the midfoot and the heel. So an excellent option overall for those of you with a broader foot that just need a bit more space in the toe box and want a non-invasive form of max stability shoe. The cushioning is the classic CMEVA cushioning that we saw in the Bondi 8, so it's nice and plush, so you'll sink into it very cloud-like for walking around. It's a 6mm drop, so 2mm lower than what we see in the Kayano 32, gives a nice even distribution of pressure across your foot, and an excellent option as a lifestyle shoe, or if you wanted a long distance running shoe that's a little bit heavier, doesn't turn over as fast as some other shoes, or it can be used as a recovery shoe or for easy runs. So two excellent options if you're looking for more moderate to max stability, arch support in the Kayano 32, and we've got more of the H-frame focus of keeping you centered in the shoe with the Gaviota 5. Next up is a max stability shoe, and that's the Brooks Glycerin GTS 22. So if you're looking for a shoe where you really feel prominent support underneath the arch of your foot and towards the heel, then this is an excellent option. It's got its go-to support system where you have this denser foam sitting under the heel and the arch of your foot, but you also have the guide rail system built in, and that's similar to the H-frame that we saw in the Gaviota 5, where you've got some sidewalls on the inside and outside of the shoe, focused on keeping you centered in the shoe as you move, with some denser cushioning packed into the midsole. It's got the DNA tuned nitrogen infused midsole, so we have a nice balanced midsole overall, a little bit more responsive than what we saw in the Kayano 32 and the Gaviota 5, a little bit more of a spring to the step when you're walking or when you're running, and you definitely don't sink into it as much as those two other shoes. We've got a wide and extra wide version as well, but you've got plenty of space in the toe box in the normal fit. That's a true to size and length. You got nice padding around the heel counter with a nice external pull-on tab, and it's an excellent shoe if you're looking for a workhorse of a shoe that can cover all sorts of distances. Yes, it's a great lifestyle shoe if you really want that hard arch support underneath your foot. So if you're someone that really enjoys max stability, really needs some control, really needs some extra support with those pronation control, then this is an excellent option for you, and one that we definitely recommend. Then when we're thinking about slightly faster shoes, we've got three options. So we still have some stability features in these, but they can also be used for some faster workouts, up tempo, and even some of them for more race pace workouts. First of all, I want to touch on the Hoka Arahi 8, which saw a big upgrade from the Arahi 7. So previously we had a J frame, which was more of that medial support all along the shoe. That's been replaced by having a H frame only, similar to what we see in the Gaviota 5. So denser foam on either side and across the middle, providing nice torsional stability with a focus on keeping you centered in the shoe. It's got some sidewalls on the inside and outside of the heel, and the heel count is not as stiff as what we see in the Gaviota 5, and that helps reduce the weight overall, coming in around 269 grams for a size 9 men's US. We've got the CMEVA cushioning that's in the Gaviota 5, but it's nowhere near as plush or as soft as what we saw in that shoe, so it's a lot more responsive, a bit more of a kick to it than the Gaviota 5, and therefore it can do a little bit faster workouts, some early stage up-tempo workouts as well. Now the fit is different on top compared to the Gaviota 5, so we've got a much narrower, more tapered fit, a little bit more space than what we saw in the Arahi 7, but still a little bit more snug for most people, and you might need to get a wide version. And it's a true to size and length for me, but just enough note, it's a little bit low in volume in terms of the toe box, so those of you who need a little bit extra height, it's just something to be aware of. We've got a nice padded tongue on this as well, we've got adequate padding around the heel counter, so an excellent option if you want somewhere that sits in the middle in terms of having moderate stability, but it's a little bit lighter overall, and therefore you can do a little bit faster of workouts. Can be used as a day-to-day shoe, lifestyle shoe, not a problem at all. Then we have the recently released Asics GT-2000 version 14. Now this is a complete overhaul of the previous models, mainly because we've got a new midsole in it, the FF Blast Max cushioning, which is similar to what we see in the Nova Blast 5, which is quite a bouncy, springy, more kind of trampoline effect feel in the shoe, so it really pushes you off, especially in the forefoot. Now this is a little bit firmer in the sole compared to the Nova Blast 5, so we've got the 3D guidance system built into it, similar to what we saw in terms of the 4D guidance system in the Kayano 32, but without that direct arch support underneath your foot. So we've got the large sidewalls on the inside and outside of the shoe, broad base of support, and we've got that sole flare on the forefoot as well. It's got real stiff and rigidity around the heel counter to help keep you focused and centered in the shoe as you move, helping to control those pronation moments. It's a really fun shoe to run in, really quite bouncy, quite springy, so you can definitely use it for some up-tempo workouts, coming in around 273 grams for size 9 men's US, so just a couple of grams heavier than the Arahi 8. An excellent option. Again, it tapers in the toe box a little bit, so some of you might need a wider fit, which is available. It was a true to size and length for me, and it's got a much thinner tongue on top compared to the Arahi 8. I didn't notice any bite on the front of the lace when you locked them down, but some of you who might be sensitive to that, it's just something to be aware of. So an excellent option if you want a slightly lighter shoe with some classic stability features, but it's a little bit springier, a little bit bouncier, and a little bit more fun as a shoe. Again, can be used as a classic lifestyle shoe, not a problem at all. Then finally, in the faster shoes that provide stability, we've got the Brooks Hyperion GTS version 2. Now this is an extremely light shoe, coming in around 215 grams for size 9 men's US, so around 50 grams lighter than these two other shoes. As we saw in the Glycerin GTS 22, it has a go-to support system on the inner aspect of the shoe, but it has a different type of midsole underneath, which is the DNA Flash nitrogen injected midsole versus the DNA Tune that we saw in the Glycerin 22. So it's much springier, it has much more bounce, much more kick to it, so while you still have this medial arch support and pressure underneath the arch of your foot, for those of you who enjoy it, it's a really fun shoe because of the lightweight and the different midsole. You can do much faster workouts, and you could even use this for race pace running if you really need that extra stability underneath your foot. It's got a relatively tapered fit on top, true to size and length, really thin tongue on top, and minimal padding around the heel counter that's moderately stiff. So this is a really fun shoe. I really enjoy it. Yes, you can use it as a lifestyle shoe, but if you need some stability features and you want a faster shoe, then this can be an excellent option for you. So we have three options: the Arahi 8 with the H frame, we've got the classic 3D guidance system in the Asics GT-2000 version 14, and in the Hyperion GTS 2 we've got a lighter shoe that's a bit more fun, a bit more kick to it. Then we have three stable neutral shoes. So in terms of stable neutral, we think about having a flat bed in the shoe. We don't have any medial arch support or medial support that tilts your foot one way or puts direct pressure underneath the arch of your foot. And we have some other features that make it more stable. Now, one of the classic features in this is having a broad base of support. And if we look at the New Balance More V6, this is a classic example of it. We need to think about the type of cushioning as well, because if we have a really soft cushioning, this can make a shoe unstable. And in the More V5, it was a little bit softer, not necessarily mushy, but there was definitely a bit more compliance to it than what we saw in the More V6, and it has an overhaul of its general appearance. So we have a really high volume of cushioning underneath your foot in the More V6, and it has a really broad base support, and it's probably one of the broadest shoes that we've come across on the market. Throughout the whole shoe, you can see it doesn't narrow too much in the midfoot, and if we compare it to the same size in the New Balance, you can see it's much wider platform in the More V6, and as a result, having more wider of a platform makes the shoe more stable, has it more contact with the ground. The cushioning is quite balanced overall, so it doesn't let you sink into it too much one way or the other, despite which way you land in the shoe. And it's got large sidewalls on the outside and on the inside, with some sole flare in the forefoot to really help keep you centered in the shoe as you move. So therefore, it's got a nice neutral bed, but it's got some extra stability features, and that's why it's more of a stable neutral. This is definitely more of a recovery run shoe, more of an easy run shoe, just because of the weight, coming in around 300 grams for size 9 men's US, versus something like the Brooks Hyperion GTS 2, which we talked about, which is about 215 grams. So that's considerably lighter. This is more focused on comfort. It definitely, as a lifestyle shoe, can be used for walking and standing for long periods of time. Loads of space in the toe box as a result of having that wide platform underneath. True to size and length, comes in a wide version. An excellent option overall if you're looking for a comfort focused shoe that you can use for lifestyle and for easy runs. In contrast contrast to that, we've got the New Balance 880 V15. Now this is probably one of the most underrated shoes on the market, and one that doesn't really get talked about enough in my opinion. It's got the Fresh Foam X cushioning, similar to what we see in the More V6, but it's a little bit firmer, a little bit more responsive as a result. So we have a 6mm drop compared to the 4mm drop that we saw in the More V6. We've got milder sidewalls on the inside, the outside, a broad base of support but not as big as what we see in the More V6, and it's just a bit more balanced overall. If you're looking for a slightly firmer shoe that you can use for easy runs, faster workouts, some more marathon pace running, then this can be an excellent staple in your rotation. It's got normal amount of space in the toe box, comes in a wide and an extra wide, true to size and length. Got nice padding around the heel counter for a little bit of comfort, and an excellent option overall if you're looking for a little bit of stability features but non-invasive and you want a neutral shoe. Then finally we've got one of the most orthotic friendly shoes on the market, and that's the Brooks Ghost Max 3. Now they had a big update compared to the Ghost Max 2 to increase the amount of width that we see underneath the shoe. So again, a really broad base of support, similar to what we see in the More V6 but maybe just a little bit less. It's got the DNA tuned midsole in it, but it's much firmer and more balanced than what we saw in some of the other shoes in the Brooks range, and as a result it makes it inherently a bit more stable. And we've got really large sidewalls on the outside and the inside of the shoe to really keep you nice and centered in the shoe as you move. Really broad toe box and plenty of space throughout the whole shoe, whereas it's a little bit more snug of a fit in the midfoot and the heel in the New Balance. This is wide throughout the whole shoe on top. We've got an overhaul to the engineered mesh on top, which makes it a little bit more breathable, and it's really stiff in the forefoot for those of you who need that extra bit of protection, whether it's for the ball of your foot or for your big toe joint. So this is an excellent option if you're happy to have a slightly heavier shoe. It's got a firmer cushioning than what we see in the More V6 and in the New Balance, so it just adds that extra element of stability to it, again without being too invasive. So there are top 3 picks for stable neutral shoes. If you have any questions on any of the shoes that we talked about, please leave them in the comment section below. I will put links to the shoes in the description if you want to check out the latest price on Amazon. Buying through the links helps fund our channel without affecting the price that you pay. However, if you just found the video helpful or interesting, like and share and subscribing does make a massive difference, and thank you very much for watching.